Okay, so what if I told you that an 18th century poet, a guy known for his wild visions of hell, actually drew the very first map of the modern mind? Today we're diving into the uncanny connection between William Blake and Carl Jung and exploring how Blake's so-called infernal wisdom pretty much became the blueprint for Jung's psychology. Let's get into it. So Blake hits us with this powerful line from his Proverbs of Hell. The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. I mean, it's a thrilling, kind of dangerous idea, right? Is he just telling us to go out and embrace chaos? To find some kind of wisdom in self-destruction? Or is there something way deeper going on here? And that really gets to the heart of our question today. Was William Blake just a brilliant poet? Or was he, in a way, a proto-psychologist? Did he, more than a century before Jung, actually offer a radical prescription for becoming whole? Here's the core idea we're playing with. Jung didn't just borrow a few ideas from Blake. You could argue he built a whole system on Blake's foundation. He gave Blake's fiery, intense visions a clinical language, a framework for actually understanding the soul. So where do we even begin to unpack this? Well, we've got to start at the source. Both men believe that the real wellspring of human vitality, of inspiration, of everything that makes us tick, it isn't out there in the world, it's deep inside us. Blake laid it out with this incredible metaphor. On one side, you've got the cistern, this image of standing, stagnant, poisonous water. That's society's rules, rigid laws, what you're supposed to do. But on the other side, you have the fountain, this raw, overflowing, pure energy from our inner world. Both Blake and Jung argued that true, life-giving wisdom flows from this internal fountain, not from the poisoned cistern of convention. And this is where Jung does something brilliant. He takes Blake's raw, chaotic idea of energy from hell and he gives it a structure, a name, archetypes. These are the universal patterns, these ancient primordial images that live inside our shared collective unconscious, shaping our lives from just beneath the surface. This brings us to what is maybe the most daring, the most challenging part of their shared vision, the idea that we absolutely must embrace our own darkness if we ever hope to find the light. Here's another one of Blake's radical proverbs. He claims our tigers, our passions, our anger, our suppressed, messy impulses, they contain more vital wisdom than the horses of instruction that symbolize all that rational, societal control. He's literally telling us there's a profound wisdom hidden in the very parts of ourselves we're taught to fear and push away. And wouldn't you know it, Jung has a precise term for that personal hell, the shadow. It's the psychological baggage that every single one of us carries around. It's the home for our greed, our rage, our deepest fears, basically everything we can't or won't admit about ourselves. So, the path to wholeness, to being a complete person, isn't about defeating our inner demons. It's about making peace with them. It's a synthesis. We either turn around and face our shadow and integrate its incredible energy, or we keep drinking the poison of a divided, incomplete self. But this inner world, it isn't just personal, it gets way bigger. Both Blake and Jung were convinced that we're all connected to a deeper, shared layer of the human psyche. Now you have to understand, for his time, this was an absolutely radical, almost heretical thing to say. Blake was arguing that the divine, the God, isn't out there in some far-off heaven. He's saying it's a powerful, living force right here inside the human heart. And once again, Jung comes along and gives this stunning poetic insight a scientific name, the collective unconscious. It's our psychic inheritance, this deep reservoir of ancestral memory and experience that connects all of humanity. And it's populated by those very archetypes we were just talking about. So you see the pattern, right? Blake's devils and angels, these figures from his visions, become Jung's archetypes, the anima and animus, the wise old man, the great mother. For Jung, these aren't just poetic flourishes. They're the living deities within us all, these autonomous energies that we can actually encounter and learn from. Okay, so this inner world is rich, it's powerful, it's full of wisdom. Great, but how do we get there? How do we actually access it without getting lost? Well, both Blake and Jung offered a map. Blake called his method double vision. It's this ability to see beyond just the physical thing in front of you, to see not just a tree, but the life force within it, the infinite symbol it represents. It's really about learning to see the world with your soul, not just your eyes. And Jung, ever the pragmatist, took Blake's poetic double vision and turned it into a practical, therapeutic technique anyone could learn. He called it active imagination. It's a method for having a conscious, deliberate conversation with the figures from your own unconscious. And it's basically a four-step journey. First, you focus on a spontaneous inner image or a strong feeling that just pops up. Then, you allow that feeling to take on a form, maybe a person, an animal, an object, and you give it a voice. Now, the crucial step is to engage it in a real dialogue, ask it questions, listen to its perspective without judgment. And finally, and this is the whole point, you take the wisdom you gain from that conversation and you bring it back, you integrate it into your daily life. It's a disciplined way to build a bridge between your inner and outer worlds. So, where does all this lead? We've talked to our shadow, we've journeyed into the collective unconscious. What's the ultimate goal of this inner journey, this dialogue with the deep? It's really amazing when you put them side by side. Blake called his goal the marriage of heaven and hell, this beautiful union of opposites, of our wild energy and our structured reason. And Jung, he called his goal individuation, the lifelong process of becoming a whole, integrated, and uniquely authentic self. It's two different languages describing the exact same destination. And the road to this wholeness, the way you actually build it, for both Blake and Jung, the answer was creativity. The creative act wasn't some hobby or a luxury. It was a psychological necessity. It's how we channeled the wild, sometimes overwhelming energy of the unconscious into something real, something tangible, and avoid what Blake called the pestilence of a stagnant soul. I think the best way to see it is this. Blake was the trailblazer. He was the guy who hacked a path deep into the jungle of the unconscious and came back telling us about the fiery, incredible landscape he found. And then Jung was the cartographer who followed his path, patiently and systematically drawing a map so that the rest of us could safely make the journey too. And that brings us right back to where we started, to Blake's road of excess. But now we can see it's not just a call to hedonism or indulgence, it's a profound challenge to have the courage to embrace the excess of our own inner world, our shadow, our archetypes, our untamed energy. Because that, they both tell us, is precisely where the palace of wisdom is waiting. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What stagnant beliefs, what poison from standing water in your own life might be holding you back? And what could you become? Who could you be if you just dared to turn inward and drink from your own overflowing internal fountain?